Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today I wanted to cover a market update focusing primarily on Solana. And the reason why is because, as I'm sure most of you are aware, Solana has kind of been the altcoin that has done the best this cycle so far. It's the one that's, it's outperformed Ethereum pretty dramatically. I would say I actually think it's outperformed Bitcoin as well. It's kind of the altcoin winner of the season so far, and we haven't even hit altcoin season yet, which we'll go into that here in a second. So let's go on ahead and dive right in. So starting out, we're going to look at the crypto bubbles. As we can see today, not as great as the last time we took a look at them. Today everything is mostly red. We've got a couple big winners here: Akash, Helium, Fetch. It looks like kind of the big ones, other than I guess Floki. The big gainers are DePIN and AI, which I think makes kind of pretty good sense. DePIN and AI have been kind of two of the bigger narratives that have been kind of going on this cycle. So that kind of makes sense. But overall, nothing too much to be concerned about. We're seeing a pretty just kind of market-wide pullback. I think this makes sense. We have seen a pretty kind of up-only attitude in the market for the past couple of days, and so I think having some of this pullback in the market is actually a good thing. And as we can see, looking at the total crypto market cap, we obviously we saw on the daily candles we saw one pretty large candle right here, and then we kind of sat a little bit at the top and then are starting to pull back a little bit. And like I said, I don't think this is anything to cause concern. Overall, I think this seems pretty healthy, at least for the market. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is, in the intro to the video, I talked about how, it's still definitely Bitcoin season and how this would affect Solana. So what we can see is, it is definitely very much Bitcoin season. Anything below 25 is technically considered like Bitcoin season. So, it's definitely Bitcoin season. Usually what this means is when we are sitting in Bitcoin season, we do kind of need to wait to see Bitcoin run before we see anything else follow, right? So generally, at least historically speaking, Bitcoin will run up, Bitcoin will, essentially make its gains, and then as Bitcoin starts to top out, then the others start to run up, and it usually kind of goes from biggest to smallest, right? So, Bitcoin, then we start to see, Ethereum, maybe BNB, Solana, some of the other layer ones. And then from there, we're looking at like layer twos or individual projects within those particular layer ones. And then from there, usually it's meme coins, Ponzi-nomics, rug coins, all a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And that's obviously, what we've seen before. That's usually when it gets, a little bit too frothy. So anyway, as we can see, it's definitely Bitcoin season, which historically would indicate none of the major gains that we've seen previously are anywhere close to here. So that I would say is a good news, especially if you're a Solana fan, because looking at the Solana chart, if we go back to about this time last year, we can see that Solana was sitting at like $21 roughly. So and now it's sitting at 150, almost 160. I would say not too bad for a year's work. Obviously Solana has been the one that has done really, really well, and it's been kind of the big gainer. It hasn't even really gotten close to its previous all-time highs. I mean, up here, I think, we hit about close to 210. Previous all-time highs around like 240. The thing that is worth mentioning here, though, is this was similar in market caps, I do believe, just because of all the token unlocks. So, again, we always need to be focused on the market caps. And that's something that we should definitely pay attention to. But at least we'll jump into market caps here in a second. But at least from pure price action, we have seen a massive pump in price. And then as we can see right now, we're kind of sitting in between what looks like a possible wedge. Kind of the story is similar for a lot of projects within the crypto space. There's a big pump. They're now kind of on this multi-months long consolidation. Solana almost looks slightly different than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin definitely does look like it's in a descending channel. Solana, however, it looks like it's holding this like support zone pretty well. So I wouldn't necessarily say we're making lower lows. Like in this case, I mean, like, yeah, technically it was a lower low, but it did kind of wick down through this zone and then right back up. So, you can argue in terms of, whether we're truly making lower lows or not here. I would say just kind of generally from a structure perspective, no. This looks to me more just like a wedge. And again, historically speaking, whenever we see wedges like this, if we break through to the upside, we usually see, pretty substantial gains. Now, moving to Solana market cap, just like I was saying a couple minutes ago, we do always want to keep an eye on market cap. So even though, as we can see here, the all-time high Solana market cap was somewhere around 75 billion. I think it might have been closer to 80, but I can't find the Pico top there. But right here, what we can see is, the all-time high market cap was closer to like 90 billion, I would want to say. So even though we have not broken all-time high prices, we did in fact break all-time high market caps. And even right now, I mean, we're sitting pretty close to kind of what the all-time highs were up there. I would say this is overall a pretty good thing. We can see we're holding kind of the 60 billion market cap as kind of like a level of support. And then, we're kind of moving up into and occasionally through the 80 billion market, the $80 billion market cap. So, overall, this looks pretty good from a market cap perspective. But again, please do always remember that, dilution is a thing, and that, that does impact kind of the state of the token. As we can see here, even though the market cap right now is 73 billion, the fully diluted is 91. So there definitely are, a fairly substantial amount of Solana tokens to continue to be diluted. So just keep that in mind, as you're holding your Solana, because that does impact things fairly dramatically. So the last thing I want to go over, and this is something that I don't think just impacts Solana specifically, but this is something that impacts Bitcoin and all altcoins, just as much. So this is the target Fed funds rate probabilities for the September meeting. So in September, the Fed meets every 6 weeks, and what they do is they discuss what they want to do with their interest rates, right? And so the previous meeting they said, no, we're not going to change rates, but next meeting we'll probably change rates. And then we kind of had that, the yen carry trade unwinding and some, employment data softening. And so there was some general, we had the SOM indicator go off. There was a lot of like kind of scary signals that were flashing in the market. And so the Fed has kind of since come out virtually guaranteeing that they're going to be cutting rates. And so now it's mainly a question of, well, how much, right? And so as we can see right now, it's almost a 2/3 to 1/3 probability that they're going to cut rates by about 1/4 of a point. And then there's almost, about a 1/3 probability that they're going to cut it by about 1/2 point. Now, there's kind of two ways to look at this. So the Fed has kind of indicated that they want to cut 3 more times before the end of the year, which would mean, beginning of November and then also mid-December. So, this could kind of mean two things as far as prices for crypto are concerned. If we go and make this one cut, maybe this is kind of steady, steady as we go, everybody, this is kind of the expected amount. And in a sense, this almost might be more bullish news for crypto if they cut less, even though we like rate cuts in crypto. Now, the reason why I say that is because if we cut more, I think the global sentiment or attitude towards some type of reaction like this would be that they're essentially, the Fed is scared that things need to come under control, more quickly than maybe what 1/4 of a point might do. And so what they're doing here is they're going to be trying to act more aggressively and, cut harder. And so if they were to cut harder, this may send, potentially a degree of panic through the market, because they see that the Fed might be reacting a little bit more dramatically than what they might be publicly speaking about right now. And so, that's something where that's kind of my reason, I guess I should say, as to why it could potentially be a worse thing to cut harder, even though lower rates are better for crypto. Now, again, this is purely short term. Long term, obviously, harder rate cuts would be better for crypto generally. But in the short term, I do think we could see some sort of, a similar type of flash crash or something that would impact, particularly alts more dramatically, but Bitcoin as well as in terms of prices and Solana as well. As we saw on the chart for Solana, there's kind of that support zone in the 130 to 140 range. So I do think there's a real possibility that maybe we kind of pull back into those zones. So anyway, that's my quick market overview today, especially concerning Solana. Hopefully you found the information useful and valuable. If you did, please do give me a like and subscribe. It really does help me out. I've had a lot of growth in the channel over the past couple of days, which I really appreciate. And, I thank all of you that, you find the information useful and valuable. If you continue to do so, please do, like and subscribe. I do, appreciate the support, and it does continue to help me reach other people, within the YouTube algorithm as well. So also feel free to leave a comment. I do read all my comments, and I like hearing your guys' feedback and, a lot of your opinions on your thoughts in the market as well. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.